Very good morning, friends. So we are starting with the 8th day of our crash course. In the last session, we saw about the strategic analysis of operating income, in which we learned how to analyze the operating income and to find out the differences between the operating income of previous year and the current year. And then thereafter, we saw special cases of analysis of operating income as direct product profitability, where we are calculating the profitability on for each of the products that the entity is manufacturing. And we also saw about customer profitability analysis, in which we will be calculating the profitability for each customer based on the ABC or activity based costing applications. Okay, and we did few problems also on that, and I think we were doing the exercise problem number 1 in the last session at the end of the when we stopped the class. Okay, now before moving to the next problems in the exercise, we have certain theory topics like some material topics in the remaining in the chapter. We will deal those topics first, then after that we will go to the exercise. Okay, exercise problems. So you can write the heading activity based cost management. Activity based cost management. Activity based cost management. This is shortly called as ABM. Okay, now what is the meaning of activity based cost management? Okay, now it is a system of identifying and evaluating the major activities performed by an entity. Major activities performed by an entity. Okay, for what? How you analyze, how you identify the various activities or major activities using activity based costing technique. Activity based costing, or it is known as ABC. Now for what purpose? Why do we have to do this? For what purpose? For two purposes. One is to carry out value chain analysis or to carry out value re-engineering. Okay, in simple terms, what are you doing in activity based cost management? We are using activity based costing techniques for identifying the major activities performed by the company or performed by an entity. Okay, why do we need to identify the major activities performed by the entity? We have already seen that in the modern costing world, there is a consensus that, or there is a principle that the major cost factors of any entity are driven by the activities which the entity perform to convert the input into output. Okay, so in the traditional costing method, we were concerned about the elements of costing. We were focusing on the materials, labor, then overheads, fixed overheads, etc., etc. Now coming to the modern world, we are not bothered about the elements. The elements of the costing comes into play because of the activities which requires those resources. Okay, why do you require labor? You require labor because you are doing an activity which requires a labor. So unless you focus on that activity, it will not be easy for you to reduce the cost of this particular labor. That is the concept. So here in the modern costing world, we are concerned only about the activity and the cost drivers which drives the cost of that particular activity. If there is a particular activity of machine setup, you need to know machine setup is an activity and what is the cost driving activity for that particular machine setup activity. Maybe number of setups is the cost driving activity. So unless you focus on reducing the number of setups, you won't be able to reduce the cost of machine setup. Okay, similarly, rent is an activity. Renting of a factory, that is an activity. So what is the cost driver for a rent? It is the square feet or area used by the products. Okay, so unless you focus on the area occupied by the products in the storage or in the factory or in the warehouse, you won't be able to reduce the, or you won't be able to control the rental cost. Okay, so ABC says you focus on activities, not on the elements. If you focus on the activities and the corresponding cost drivers, then automatically what will happen? The elements of cost, that is direct material, labor and your overheads, that will come down. Because these elements of costing which you have learned in absorption costing is only a resources which are consumed by these activities. So once you focus on the activity, you will automatically control the resources also. So that is the concept of ABC costing. Now we are going one step ahead and we are using this ABC costing for managing the cost. Okay, how to manage the cost? We are doing a value chain analysis. We have dealt a value chain analysis in detail in chapter number 1 and chapter number 2. Okay, so value chain analysis, we are identifying which all are the major activities which constitutes the value chain. There will be, we saw that there will be value added activities and non-value added activities. And as far as an entity is concerned, the objective of that entity should be to eliminate value added activity, non-value added activities and to control value added activities. Okay, so our ultimate aim is to carry out a value chain analysis. If value chain analysis is not possible, then what you have to do? You have to go for a business process re-engineering or value re-engineering, where we are having a complete disruption of the existing methods and we are doing everything new over and over again. Okay, so that is value re-engineering. So these are the expected outcomes, either value chain analysis or value re-engineering. For doing value chain analysis or value engineering, re-engineering, what do you require? You need to identify the major activities. How do you identify the major activities? You apply the ABC costing or activity based costing for that. And this system of identifying the major activities performed by an entity using ABC costing principles and thereafter carrying out the value chain analysis or value re-engineering is what is known as activity based cost management. Activity based cost management. Okay, so the specialty of this method is, in this method we use activity based costing, okay, as a costing tool. We use it as a costing tool. For what purpose? To manage the cost. To manage the cost. So generally any costing method, whether it is absorption costing or whether it is standard costing, whatever, it is primarily seen as a method to determine the cost. So the main objective or utility of any costing method should end with determination of the cost. That is the objective of any costing. Okay. So similarly, if you go by the same principle, ABC costing should also end with determination of the cost of the output. But here we are going one step ahead. We are using the activity based costing as a costing tool to manage the cost. How you manage the cost? Because you know what are the major activities and what are the associated cost drivers and the corresponding cost of each activity. Once you know these much details, it is very easy for you to implement any cost management application, cost management technique. Okay, so this ABM focuses on using ABC as a costing tool to manage the cost. By how you manage the cost in ABC? By managing the cost of various activities. Cost of various activities. Is it clear? Yes. Now, what is the expected outcome of this activity based cost management? Okay, expected outcome of ABM. The expected outcome of ABM is nothing but improve the strategic and operational decisions of the organization or entity. Okay, this cost classification into various activities and the corresponding cost identification to each of these activities, which help to improve the strategic and operational decision making of an entity. Okay, that is the expected outcome of an activity based management. See, you need to know what is the concept behind ABM. That's all what is required, because most probably this may be asked as a theory question within the case study. They will give a case study, okay, on which they will ask you to suggest a suitable method of costing or method of cost management which is suitable to say for example value chain analysis, whatever. So there you will have to write that this entity may go for an activity based costing management or ABM, wherein these are the expected objective and these are the expected outcomes, etc., etc. Okay, so that is the main from exam perspective, that is the main expected outcome of this particular topic. Okay, right. Now going one step ahead, stages in ABM. Stages in ABM. Stages in ABM. Basically, there are three stages, major stages. One is activity analysis. Activity analysis. Then second is cost driver analysis. Cost driver analysis. And third is performance analysis. Basically, these topics we have dealt in detail in various other chapters. Okay, you can tell me what do you mean by activity analysis? Activity analysis is nothing but analyzing the major activities which constitutes the cost of any entity. Okay, we are identifying the major activities within an organization. Okay, and we are dividing it into activity centers or activity cost pools. Okay, material volume related activities, then material related activities, like that we are classifying various activities together for a better analysis. Okay, and the group of activities are such group of related activities are known as activity centers or activity cost pools, where we add the cost associated with each of these activities into the pool. Okay, then what do, you will identify which all are the value added activities and which all are the non value added activities. We know what is a value added activity and what is a non value added activities. Value added activities are those activities which adds any value to the final output. Okay, if it is a value added activity, then it is very much essential for the entity. Okay, it is very much essential, because if you eliminate that particular activity, there will be a shortfall in the value addition, because that particular activity is adding value. Okay, that is value added activity. Then second classification is non-value added activity. What do you mean by non-value added activity? Non-value added activities are those activities which does not add any value to the end product or the cost object. Okay, so if it does not add any value to the end product or the output, then even if it is eliminated, if possible, if it is eliminated, it is not going to affect any of the features of the outcome. So the objective of the entity should be to eliminate what non-value added activities and to control the cost of value added activities. That is what we are doing in activity analysis. Okay, so in activity analysis, I can say that there are major three steps. Step number one, identification of major activities and associated cost drivers. CDs means cost drivers. And this cost drivers also we saw its classification into structural CDs and executional CDs. Okay, we have dealt those things in detail. Okay, so the first step is identify the major activities and the associated cost drivers. Then next what you have to do? Identify the cost associated with such activities. If you have identified the various activities, then what you have to do? You have to identify the quantum of cost that are associated with each of such activities. That is the second step. Now what you have to do? Classify the activities into what? You have two classification: value added activities or VA. Next is non-value added activities. Okay, so this step, activity analysis, ends with that. Now what you have to do? You need to move to the next step, and next step is what is known as cost driver analysis. Okay, in this step we have identified the cost drivers, because unless you identify the cost drivers, it is very difficult to identify the cost associated with each activity, because the cost is driven by the cost driver. So unless you identify the cost drivers, you can't identify how much cost is to be allocated to each of this activity. So it is identified in first step, but a detailed analysis of such cost drivers, like into executional cost drivers and structural cost drivers, it has to be done in the second step only. Okay, so what we do here is identify the factors that drive the activity cost. Okay, now why you have to do that? Why you have to identify the cost drivers? You need to improve the consumption of cost drivers. The cost is driven by the consumption of these cost drivers. Activity cost is driven by the consumption of these cost drivers. So if you want to reduce the cost or improve the cost, what you have to do? You have to improve the consumption of the cost drivers. So that is the objective. Okay, for which what you do? Classify the CDs into cost drivers into two: structural cost drivers and what is the next classification? Executional CDs. Okay, next is analyze the cost drivers and identify opportunities for reduction in consumption of CDs. I told you, only if you can reduce the rate of consumption of each cost driver by a respective activity, you won't be able to reduce the cost, because the cost is driven by the consumption of the cost drivers. So you have to, after classifying the cost drivers into structural CDs and executional CDs, what you have to do? You have to analyze and identify opportunities for reduction in the consumption of CDs, which will automatically reduce the cost associated with that particular activity. Okay, and you know what do you mean by structural CDs and executional CDs? Structural CDs are those cost drivers which are related to the capacity and the structure of the organization. Okay, it may be relating to the capacity, or it may be something related with the method of operations, etc., etc. Okay, so that those are structural CDs. So if you want to make any changes in those cost drivers, it will affect the structure altogether. If you want to reduce the capacity, it will affect the entire process, production process. So what do you require? You require the permission from the top management. Okay, if you want to touch the structural CDs, you take the permission from the higher ups. Okay, on the other hand, executional CDs is the way we perform each task. Okay, so if you want to improve on the executional cost drivers, you don't have to take the permission from the management, top management. It can be decided by the managers. Okay, it can be decided by the managers who are actually controlling the executional part. Okay, so one is regarding the structural cost part, and the other one is regarding the execution part. Execution part easily can be easily modified. You can bring out any improvements in the execution. You can avoid waste or whatever you want. You can do it with execution CDs. But if you want to touch the structural CDs, you require the permission from the top management. So that is cost driver analysis. Now moving one step, next is performance analysis. Okay, so what do you do in performance? Having classified the activities and having identified the cost driver, in the last part we have identified the opportunities for reduction in the consumption of CDs. Now what you are doing, you will be assigning performance targets. Assign performance targets for each CDs. Okay, performance targets means you have identified that the consumption of one particular CD or cost driver has to be reduced. So that is your end outcome of the second step. In second step, you have identified that there is a particular CD and the consumption rate is very high. You have to reduce it. Now, how can you reduce it? Merely by saying that it needs to be reduced, nobody is going to reduce it. You have to give specific targets. So assign performance targets for each CDs. Okay, for reduction in the consumption. Okay, then what you have to do? Just because you have assigned the targets, that is not enough. You will have to monitor it. Then monitor the targets continuously and ensure that the targets are properly achieved. Is it clear? So these are the three major stages in ABM, and how we do the activity analysis, then cost driver analysis, and performance analysis in activity based costing management. Okay, so I think you all have noted this down. Now I think we will have to do a couple of problems in this. Okay, there is, you can take the institute material. Institute material, I think page number, this is, yeah, page number 10.20. 10.20. There is an illustration. You can read the illustration. Page number 10.20. Okay, so what is given in the question? Queenstown Furniture (QF) manufactures high-quality wooden doors within the forest of Queenstown since 1952. So there is a company or there is an entity which manufactures wooden doors. Okay, management is having emphasis on creativity, engineering, innovation, and experience to provide the customers door with the door they desire, whether it is a standard design or one of a kind custom door. Okay, so the management emphasis is on creativity, engineering, innovation, and experience. Okay, and they provide both types of customized doors as well as standard doors. The following information pertains to the operations during the month of April. Processing time 9 hours, and there is a star mark against all the times available, and that says that it is the average time taken per batch. So processing time is 9 hours, then inspection time is 1.5, then waiting time is 6 hours, then move time is 7.5 hours, then units per batch is 60 units. Okay, you are required to compute the following operational measures. Okay, what is average non-value added time per batch, then average value added time per batch, manufacturing cycle efficiency, and manufacturing cycle time. Okay, it's a very easy question, it's a very fundamental question. There are various time concepts that are given in the question, like processing time, inspection time, then waiting time, move time, and all. And out of this, you will have to find out which all are times which adds value to the output. Okay, or they are known as the value added time. Okay, and those times which does not add any value. Okay, maybe it is processing. Processing is it a value added or non-value added activity? Processing is a value added activity. So this can be taken as a value added activity. Now you have waiting time. Waiting time, is it a value added activity or non-value added activity? Waiting of maybe the inputs, the wood particles or wood raw material will have to wait for so many hours before it is getting to the machine for manufacturing. Okay, so that is waiting time. Obviously it is nothing but it is non-value added activity, so associated time will be a non-value added time. Okay, then inspection time, is it a value added time or non-value added time? Even inspection time is a non-value added time. Why non-value added time? Even if you don't do the inspection, it is not going to affect the features of the output. Okay, what would be the fault? What will be the problem if you don't have an inspection? There is a chance that there could be defectives. Okay, the chance of identifying defectives and segregating those defectives will be lost. Okay, so inspection, though it is necessary, it does not add any value to the output. Okay, if you are 100% sure that your protection is fault free, then you don't require any inspection. Okay, that is what we are doing in what Six Sigma. We are eliminating inspection completely because we know that we are implementing Six Sigma methodology, and we won't have any faulty products. Okay, so Six Sigma coupled with TQM will help you to eliminate inspection time. So inspection time, though it may look like something which is adding value, it is not adding any value to the output. So inspection time is also a non-value added activity. Now next is move time. Move time means, suppose you require the use of say 3 machines for the manufacturing process. The input have to be taken from one machine and its output have to be taken to the next machine. So for this movement from one machine to another machine, or from the godown to the factory, or from the factory to the warehouse, so all these movement is constitutes this move time. Now tell me, is it is a value added activity or non-value added activities? It is absolutely a non-value added activity because it does not add any value to the final output. So out of these 4 times, only the processing time is the value added time. Okay, and rest all 3 times or the corresponding activities, they are non-value added time or non-value added activities. Okay, and they also say that the units per batch is 60 units. Now how to compute the average time per batch? Okay, Okay, so first you can write statement of VA time and NVA time. Okay, you can write type of time. Okay, then type means whether it is value at a time or non-value at a time. Then average time per parts. Okay, you can write one more column, remarks. What is the first time? It's processing time. And what do you say about the processing time? Is it value added or non-value added? It is definitely value added. So what is the average time? It is 9 hours. So what is the remarks you can say? You can write that processing time add value to the output, converting the raw material to finished goods. Okay, hence it is a value added time. Next, what is next? Inspection time. What is the type? Non-value added. What is the time taken? The average time taken is 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours. What is the remarks you can write? Though inspection help the entity to pick defective items or units, it does not add any value to the final output. Okay, don't get confused. You may feel that inspection is a required activity. Yes, inspection is a required activity, but it does not add any particular value additions to the output. That's all. It only help you to reduce your cost or reduce your loss in the form of defectives. Okay, that's all what it does. It is not helping you to add any features to the output. Is it helping you to add any features? No, it is not going to help you in any way to add any additional feature for your output. Okay, so it is a non-value added activity. Okay, next, waiting time. Waiting time. What is the waiting time taken? Waiting time is 6 hours. Definitely non-value time. The time during which the materials or work in progress were in waiting. Okay, it is definitely a non-value added time. Next is move time. Definitely non-value added. So what is its class amount? It's 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours. So time taken to move the inputs or outputs within the factory or godown or warehouse. Okay, so it is also non-value added. So what you can do, the total time is 9, 10.5, 16.5, 17, 24. Okay, so what is the classification? Average non-value added time per batch. Average is equal to 1.5 plus 6.6 plus 7.5 divided by, okay, 1, because it is time per batch. So per batch means it will be 7.5 plus 1.5 will be 8, 9 plus 6 will be 15 hours. So for each batch on an average 15 hours is the non-value added time. Okay, so average value added time per batch is, you know what is the processing time? 9 hours. So 9 hours per batch. Okay, next, manufacturing cycle efficiency. Manufacturing How do you compute the manufacturing cycle efficiency? In the present context, the efficiency can be calculated based on the ratio of what? The value added time to the total time. Okay, so ratio of value added time to total time. You had a total average time of 24 hours, out of which how much hours were value added. That is the efficiency. Okay, so that is equal to processing time hours is 9, right? So 9 hours divided by total hours is 24 hours. Okay, I'm writing this formula as value added time divided by total time. That is VA plus NVA. Okay, so that will give you what would be the amount. 9 divided by 24 will be, okay, 9 divided by 24 will be 37.5%. Then there is one more question. Manufacturing cycle time. Manufacturing cycle time. Now, what is the time taken for manufacturing each unit? Okay, it is the time taken for manufacturing or processing each unit. That is equal to processing time per batch divided by number of units per batch. What is the processing time? It is 9 hours. Okay, it is the processing time is 9 hours divided by 60 hours, that is equal to 9 divided by sorry is equal to 0.15 hours per batch. Now here there is a catch. Okay, now the manufacturing cycle time may be expressed based on value added time alone, or it may also be presented as on the basis of total time taken also. Okay, so what we have done here right now, it is 0.15 hours per batch. It is the on the basis of value added time alone. Now the same calculation you can do on the basis of total time taken. Okay, in that case the formula will be total time taken divided by number of units per batch. The entity will have to know both the case. Okay, how much time, how much productive time each unit uses, that is one formula. The other formula is how much total time each unit consumes. Okay, both has to be reported. Okay, so alternatively you can write manufacturing cycle time may be reported on the basis of total time also, that is VA plus NVA. Okay, therefore manufacturing cycle time is equal to, how do you compute this? Manufacturing cycle time is equal to total production time per batch divided by number of units per batch. Okay, number of production time per batch is 24 hours divided by how many units? Here it is not 60 hours, 60 units. Okay, 60 units, that is equal to 24 divided by 60, that is 0.4 hours per unit. So right now each unit takes a manufacturing time of 0.4 hours per unit, out of which how much is productive time? Productive time is only 0.15 hours per batch. So ideally, if all non-value added times were eliminated, the entity could complete the production in 0.15 hours per unit. It is not per batch, sorry, per unit. Whereas currently it is taking how much time? 0.4 hours per unit. Okay, so that's all. Now we will have to move to the next topic. We can write business applications of ABM. Business applications of ABM. Okay, basically where all you can find the applications of ABM. Okay, that's all what we are dealing in this particular topic. A theoretical topic only, there is no much practical implication for this. Okay, so you will have to know that these are the areas where you can adopt ABM, so that if a case study comes, you will be able to quote it. Okay, right. So we can divide it into 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the first one is cost reduction. Cost reduction. Next is activity based budgeting. Okay, next is business process re-engineering, that is BPR, or it is also termed as value re-engineering. Next is benchmarking. Next is performance measurement. Performance measurement. Okay, now coming to the first one, that is cost reduction. Cost reduction. Now, how to implement activity based cost management for cost reduction? What do you have to do? We have already seen. You have to identify the major activities and associated cost drivers. Okay, then what do you have to do? Find out or compute the present activity cost. Okay, after identifying the major activities and the associated cost drivers, you will have to compute what is the present activity cost. Then what you have to do? Classify the activities into VA and NVA. Then what you have to do? Exercise cost reduction and cost control measures. How you can eliminate NVA? So what do? You are able to reduce cost. Okay, next, control VA. You can't eliminate, but you can control. So what do? You are trying to cost control. So you are putting a cap for the cost associated with each value added activities. So what will happen? Yes, A is a value added activity. So maximum cost that you can incur with respect to that activity A is 2 lakh rupees per month. Okay, so you are putting a cap. So it is a cost control measures. Is it clear? So cost control can be exercised using ABM by identifying value added activities and non-value added activities. You have to eliminate the non-value added activities, thereby you can reduce the cost drastically, and you have to exercise cost control measures with respect to value added activities to control your total cost. Okay, now next, activity based budgeting. Activity based budgeting. Okay, now how do you implement this activity based budgeting? Okay, I will give you the steps. Identify the standard quantity of cost drivers. cost drivers for the performance of activities. Performance of each activity. Okay, so in the first step, we have identified the major activities constituting the entire business process. Okay, major activities has been identified. Now, what you are doing? You are setting some standard quantities for each of the cost drivers for performing that particular activity. Say, if machine setup is a activity, the cost driver is number of setups. So the management is saying in a month you can have maximum of 10 setups, machine setups. So it is a standard quantity. Okay, now next, estimate the budgeted level of activity. Estimate the budgeted level of activity. That is, this is in terms of output. Okay, so you are determining how many units we are going to manufacture in a particular period. So it is the budget level of activity. Then what you have to do? So in the first step, you have a standard. You know that for manufacturing a particular quantum of products, say 1 lakh units in a month, you require 10 machine setups in a month. Okay, that is the standard quantity. Now what you have to do? You have budgeted maybe 10 lakhs production for a month. So can you say that you need to restrict your machine setups only to 10 machine setups per month? No. If the standard is 10 machine setup for 1 lakh production, if you are budgeting 10 lakhs units as your budget, the budgeted production for a particular period, then your permitted machine setup should be 10 into 10, that is 100. Is it clear? So what you are doing in the first step, this is the first step, you have a standard set. Now this standard set is incorporated to the budgeted level of activity. That is what we do in third step. Okay, so estimate the required level of cost drivers for the budgeted level of activity. Is it clear? So that is the third step. Now what is the fourth step? Measure the actual consumption of CDs. Now these three steps, this is done before the budgeted period. Okay, because this is budget, so budget has to be prepared before that particular budget period, whereas this measurement of actual consumption has to be done after the end of the budget period. Once the budget period is over, we are taking how much was the actual consumption of the cost drivers. Then what you have to do? Next step, identify the variance between budgeted consumption and actual consumption. Oh, okay, then what you have to do? Once you have identified the variance, then analyze the variance. That is the last step. Analysis of variance. Okay, we try to identify what are the reasons for the variance, and based on this analysis, what you have to do? You have to plan and control the next budget period, control the next budget period planning. Is it clear? Okay, so that is what you do in activity based budgeting. In activity based budgeting, you are identifying the major activities first. Then what you will do, you will identify what is the standard quantity of cost drivers required for the performance of each activity. That is setting of standard rates. Standard rates. Then what you have to do, you have to estimate the budgeted level of activity for your entity. Okay, budgeted level of production or output. Okay, so this is the second step. Now what you have to do, based on the standard rate in the previous step and the budgeted level you have set in this step, you have to estimate the required level of cost drivers for the budgeted level of activity. That is step number 3. Once you do that, which is the next one, the budgeting part is over. You have identified and you have set the targets for each of these cost drivers for each of these major activities. Then after that, once the budget period is over, you have to measure the actual consumption of cost drivers by each activity. Okay, so this has to be done at the end of the budget period. Then what you have to do, you have to analyze the variance. What was your standard or what was your budget and how much did you actually consume? What is the difference? You identify the difference and analyze the variance. Okay, and the reasons for this variance have to be identified and analyzed. And based on this analysis, what you have to do, you have to plan and control the budget for the next period. If you feel that some modification have to be changed to the budget for the next period, then you do that. Or if you feel that no changes is required for the next budget, but there is some controls required to bring down the variance to a minimum acceptable level, then you exercise the controls. Is it clear? That is all about the ABB or activity based budgeting. Now next is business process re-engineering. Business process re-engineering, or it is also known as value re-engineering. Okay, what is this business process re-engineering or value engineering? Okay, in BPR, what you are doing is you are examining the entire existing business process with a view to achieve dramatic cost reduction. Okay, so when you do a BPR, what is your objective? Your objective is to achieve dramatic cost reduction. When I say dramatic cost reduction, it is not just 5% or 10% or 15%. You need to achieve, say, 60% cost reduction. Dramatic, huge cost reduction you want to achieve. Now, with that objective, you are examining the entire existing business process. Okay, now how do you examine this entire existing business process? By using ABC. And what do you do in ABC? Again, your entire business process is divided into various activities. Then you exercise all your ABC costing techniques. Okay, and what is the outcome? You need to re-engineer the way the business process is carried out. Okay, you are trying to re-engineer the method or manner in which the existing processes are done. See, you are looking for 70% or 60% cost reduction. If you want to have such a big cost reduction, then you should be trying to find out a better way of doing the current business. It's not enough that you identified non-value added and value added activities and eliminating. That won't help you to achieve a 60% or 50% cost reduction. If you want to achieve that level of cost reduction, you should completely re-engineer the way the business process is done. Okay, you may have to change the entire technology. Okay, now your existing technology may be purely labor oriented. You shift from labor oriented to completely mechanized. You have a system where you are using separate reporting softwares. You eliminate those separate reporting softwares and you bring out a complete ERP where there is continuous real-time monitoring and reporting. So all activities is overhauled, is analyzed, and they are overhauled to achieve a dramatic cost reduction in the existing cost structure. That is BPR. Now for this you are using ABC. Okay, so you will identify the existing business process, you will identify which are the various activities, then of course you will eliminate your non-value added activities. Then what you will do, even the value added activities you are going to re-engineer, you are going to reinvent the way it can be done in a better manner. Okay, each activity has to be re-engineered, then only you can achieve that much cost reduction. Is it clear? That is BPR. See, we have written very detailed notes in BPR in, I think, in chapter 1. Okay, so that is more than enough for you. Okay, you can continue those, you can learn those notes and you can use those notes here also. Okay, so that is all about business process engineering. Right, now next is benchmarking. Okay, now what is happening in benchmarking? In benchmarking, you are using ABC costing as a method to set benchmark. Okay, you have broken down your entire business process into various activities. Now you know which all are the various business activities. Say for example, advertisement is a business activity. Okay, and once you have identified the current advertising cost and advertising activities carried out by you, you can set benchmarks for that. Okay, you can say that your turnover is 100 crores. Okay, and there is another company which is having 100 crore turnover, and that company is doing an advertisement cost or advertisement spending of say 10 lakhs rupees, or you can say 1 crore rupees. So that becomes your benchmark. Okay, similarly, you are going to the next various activity. It is admin staff cost. Okay, your total admin staff cost is say 50 lakhs rupees. Whereas as per the industry standard or as per the benchmark, it ought to have been 25 lakhs. So there is a benchmark for your that particular activity. So once you have broken down your business process into various key major activities, it will help you to fix benchmarks for each of those major business activities. And that process of using ABC costing as a method to set benchmarks is what is known as benchmarking in as an application of ABM in benchmarking. Is it clear? So benchmarking is a process of comparing is a process of comparing ABC derived activity cost. That means using ABC, you have identified your activities and the associated cost also, activity cost also you have derived. So a process of comparing ABC derived activity cost of the entity or a segment. Okay, okay. With respect to the benchmark entity or segment. Okay, so if you have more than one segments, business segments within your entity, then you may have internal benchmarks also. Like that, you have, say, this is the average cost taken by all the segments together. So your segment should also conform to that average. Okay, so that is internal benchmarks. Now you don't have too many segments. You have only one or two key segments. Then what you have to do? You have to go for external benchmark. External benchmark means you are looking at the industry and you are looking at the competitors. You are trying to find out what could be the benchmark figures or activity cost for each your activity based on the industry analysis or the analysis of your competitors. Okay, so that is internal benchmarking and external benchmarking. You have already learned it in your strategic cost management in IPCC, the types of benchmarking, etc. Okay, so this is benchmarking. It's a process of comparing the ABC derived activity cost of an entity or segment with respect to the benchmark entity or segment. Okay, benchmark entity means this will be applicable in external benchmark. Segment, if you are looking at your own segment, your own comparable or standard segment, then this is a internal benchmark. Internal benchmark. Okay, external benchmark and internal benchmark. Now next, performance measurement. How can you use this ABM, activity based management, for measuring the performance? We have already seen that. Okay, we have seen that once you analyze the cost, what you can do, once you have identified the activities and you have analyzed the cost, you can set targets. Then what you can do, once you have set the targets, you can measure what is the actual. Then the targets and the actuals can be used as a measure for comparing the performance of that particular person who is responsible for that particular activity or that particular division which is in control of that particular activity. Okay, so this can be used as a method to measure the performance of a particular person or the performance of a particular division. Okay, so that is performance measurement. There is nothing big to explain in that. So you can write ABC costing can be used as a method of measuring the performance of a division or of a person, division which control the activity. Okay, or if you are evaluating the performance of a person, then that person should be in charge of the activity. Okay, so that is performance measurement. You can apply any model of performance measurement using this ABC costing, the way you do the normal costing for performance measurement. Okay, so these are the business application of ABM. Now I think what is left is only doing some problems. Okay, then you have certain benefits of activity based management. Okay, those things it is there in the material also, you can go through it. It is not that difficult topics, it's small topics only. Okay, then now we are moving to the problems. You can take page number 10 point, yes, 10.26 we can take, and illustration is there. 10.26 illustration. Read the question. Okay, we'll read the question once again. 612 is an Indian Japanese international chain of convenience stores for food, snacks, hot and cold beverages. Is formulating its activity based budget for January 2019. 612 has only three product types: soft drinks, fresh drink, and ready to eat food. The budgeted data relating to three products are as under. So there is a company, and what is the name of that company? 612. Okay, 612 is the name of the entity. This is dealing in three products. One, it is soft drink. Then two, it is fresh drink. And third one, which is the third product, ready to eat food. Ready to eat food. Okay, now what is this company doing? It is formulating its activity based budget. Okay, now for which period they are doing this? They are preparing this ABB, activity based budget, for Jan 2019. For Jan 2019. Okay, now what is the requirement here? The budgeted data relating to three products. You have how many products? Soft drinks, fresh drink, and ready to eat. So three types of products. Activity and cost driver, ordering, and the cost driver is per purchase order. The cost driver rates for 2018 actual rate is given. Then January 2019, what is the budgeted rate that is given? Then the quantum of budgeted cost drivers to be used or to be consumed, that is budgeted. This is budgeted for the purpose of January 2019, that is also available. Then delivery, per delivery, you know what is the actual cost in 2018, then budgeted cost for 2019, and the remaining cost. Then you have shelf stocking, that is based on per hour basis, and the actual cost for the previous period, and the budgeted cost for Jan 2019, and the cost driver consumption budgets are also available. Customer support, same thing, and this is based on the per item sold. So four major activities. One is ordering, and the cost driver is purchase order base. Then delivery, and that is based on per delivery. Then shelf stocking, that is based on per hour for which the product is stocked. Then customer support, that is based on the per item sold. Now 612 has a continuous improvement system to budgeting monthly activity cost for each month of 2019. Yes. So here what the company is doing, the company has continuous improvement system. Continuous improvement system. We have heard about this terminology somewhere else. Continuous improvement. We have used the same terminology in Kaizen costing. Kaizen costing. So this is basically a system where ABC costing is used along with Kaizen costing, okay, to manage the cost. Okay, so that is the method. Now 612 has a continuous improvement system of budgeting for monthly activity cost for each month of 2019. February's budgeted cost driver rate is 0.996 times the budgeted Jan 2019 rate. Okay, what does it mean? If you have a cost driver rate for January 2019, say January 2019, the cost driver rate for a particular activity is 100. Then for Feb 2019, the rate will be continuous improvement, no? So the rate will be 0.996. Is it 0.996? Yes, 0.996 times the rate of January 2019. Okay, so that means this will be 0.996 into 100, or 99.6 will be the rate. And going further, March budgeted cost driver rate is 0.996 times the budgeted February 2019 rate, and so on. So if Feb 2019 rate is 99.6, then for March 19, it will be 99.6 into 0.996. Okay, and this will be 99.6 into 0.996 will be 99.2016. Is it clear? So that will be the rate for March 2019. Okay, so this is how they determine the cost rates, the cost driver rates for each of this month. You set for Jan 2019, and for the month of Feb it will be 99.6 times, or 19.996 times the rate for Jan, and the rate for March will be 0.996 times the rate of Feb. Then the rate for April will be 0.996 times the rate of March, and so on. It continues for the entire year 2019. Okay, now what is the requirement? Compute the total budgeted cost for each activity in January 2019. Then discuss the advantages might 612 gain by using activity based budgeting approach over, say, an approach that allocates the cost of these activities to the products as a percentage of the cost of goods sold. Okay, so what is the second part? Second part is very okay. What is given in the second part? They ask you to discuss the advantages that 612 may have by using an activity based budgeting approach, by using an activity based budgeting approach over a traditional approach. And what is this traditional approach? This traditional approach is a method that allocates the cost of these activities to the products, okay, as a percentage of the cost of goods sold. Okay, at present, what is the proposed system? You are Of course, you are allocating the cost of these activities. Which are the activities? Ordering cost, delivery cost, and shelf stocking cost, and customer support cost, based on the consumption of the activity, the cost drivers by each of these activities. Okay. Now there is a proposal to, or you are required to analyze this method with the traditional method or traditional approach. And what is the traditional approach? In traditional approach, you don't do it based on the activity. You take the total cost of the supporting activity, and the total cost of the supporting activity will be allocated to the products, not based on the activity consumption, but based on some manner. Say, what could be one example for that manner? Say the basis of cost of goods sold. Once you have identified the cost of goods sold, then you take that cost of goods sold as a basis for allocating the entire support activities cost to the cost objects. That is the traditional method. Okay. And what is the advantages of this ABC method over the traditional method? Now, the third one will be compute total budgeted cost for each activity in March 2019. If March 2019 has the same budgeted amount of cost driver usage as in Jan 2019. It's basically this one only, a calculation part only. State benefits of 612 adopting Kaizen budgeting approach. Yes, this is what we saw. Kaizen budgeting approach, and identified any limitations. Okay, right.